welcome to Real Talk, episode 74. I'm Todd, this is AJ,
Yo.
and we're back.
Hey. How you guys doing today? You guys doing good? Feeling good? I'm feeling good today. You feeling good?
I'm okay. So, episode 74, for those that are here for 30 seconds, stick around a little longer.
Just a little bit.
That's all we got. We'd
Just
love to see you. Typically, I think they just come in, watch the intro, and then leave. It's the same every week. So, if you're new to Real Talk, we have Real Talk. If you listen on the podcast for the first time and you decided to jump in on episode 74, what's it about? Hey, we're just some guys trying to talk about life, God, the Bible, everything in between, what it means to be a Christian, how to, walk all this stuff out.
That's right.
And we also answer, to the best of our ability, give our opinions and answer biblical questions and thoughts on discuss topics that are completely anonymous, asked by you guys and those watching our videos. And that website is www.theremnant.life/real-talk. If you go down to the bottom, there's a box that says submit a question. If you click that, it guides you the rest of the way. It's completely anonymous. Couldn't find you if we tried. We have answered over, I haven't looked, actually tell you right now, probably about 1,500 questions would be my guess.
Reaching 1,500 now. That's
We are at, a whole lot of them. So, about 1,500 questions over the years. So, we're really excited about, just the opportunity we've been given to do that. So,
That's wild.
that's what we do here. We also share a little bit about our lives.
Mm-hmm.
And to encourage you guys to have those kind of discussions in your own life with people. And maybe some of the stuff we talk about resonates with you. And maybe you have some stuff to share with us. And we would love to hear it.
Absolutely love it.
All right. So, going to be a weird episode if people come in on this one.
Yeah.
My energy level's very chill today.
Makes sense. We kind of talked a little bit before.
Yeah.
Just
One of those days, man.
Exactly.
So, we typically, I do think we have a few questions, but we'll just go ahead and start. Last week we did questions first, so this week, how are things?
Flippy floppy.
How's your life been? What's the Lord teaching you down the road of life?
Down the road of life, what is the Lord teaching me?
Or what are you wrestling with?
I think I'm wrestling with the idea of numbing my mind to the extent of not grasp. Well, okay, I shouldn't say not grasping because I think I do grasp it. Okay, I'm trying to think of how to word it because it's weird. I talked about it the other day. I feel like my mind, I actually think differently than I try to perceive myself. Does that make sense? Like
You mean that you perceive yourself, or that you make other people perceive?
like, no, not others. It's more like I try to trick myself into thinking that I don't think about things I do.
Gotcha.
And I think the reason why I do that is because when I actually do decide to not do that, that's when I know that the thoughts that I have are, there's weight to them. I think that's why. Because the other, if I can push those away and just think of what other. It's funny because when I do that, I don't even think I'm thinking of other things. It's more like I think that's where that numbness comes from. That idea, like the apathy in a way, like feeling nothing because you're just kind of pushing that stuff away. And if that's your true mind and you're trying to not feel those things, what do you replace that with? I don't know if I do. I guess it's just more like nothing. So when I actually do feel those things, when I do think about those things, it's just there's a lot of weight to them because of what it is I'm thinking of, whether that's people's lives that are around me or if it's people's, characteristics or even my own stuff, my own characteristics, my own life, what happened, what is going to happen, just so many things. So that's one thing I'm really wrestling with is trying not to do what I'm used to, which is take my mind and kind of channel it differently to where I'm not thinking about those things, so then it's not as weighty and I'm not having to deal with that. And that's not right. That's not only causing me to slow down in my progression towards Christ in my own life, but that's also causing other people's progressions in life towards Christ. Like that's slowing them down because maybe I'm the person who's supposed to tell them about it and I'm not. And that's really big. And that can go with anything too. If you get used to that kind of mindset, that even that can affect the way you even talk about the gospel to people, or because like, hey, there's weight to that, and then if you're running away from weight in life, then it's like, you're not gonna do much of anything, so especially,
and by weight you mean, in case people like those heavy things in
exactly
life.
Yes, those
things
heavy
that
things
make you feel and think and
yes,
process.
and they're certainly not comfortable, and we so often want to be comfortable in a world that doesn't need to be comfortable. So
well, yeah, and it's not comfortable. It's like you said. I think a lot of times people are just, the world's numbing itself and distracting itself
constantly.
Yeah.
And we, so for me, I think that's one big thing I've been thinking about this week is how, I guess I'm not asking myself how to do it. It's more like, I'm not even asking myself anything, I guess. It's more like you need to do it. Because I know how to do it. It's just more getting through that initial wall of actually starting in on those conversations, or pushing through that wall and going, hey, like we got to do this. And so, because usually once I take that step, which is funny, you talk about Peter, once you take that step, that's when it's easier to do and easier to have those conversations or do those things that you need to do, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
So that's one big thing I've been thinking about this week.
So what do you do to keep yourself from thinking about them? How do you trick yourself?
I feel like for a lot of my life as a kid, it's almost like I put like these like wipers over my eyes that just like whenever something comes, it just whoop, just like in and out, and it's just gone, and like, but there's still remnants of it there. Think of like a car, like when it's
little
driplets around.
But what's the wipe? Like, what is it? What do you do to do that? You just run from the thoughts.
I guess kind of do it. Like, I'm trying to think of
distractions, videos. Do you watch stuff? Do you?
I think
people do different things. You just stay busy,
right? I wouldn't say I stay busy. People, I wouldn't say I stay busy. I could always be doing more, but probably kind of like what you said more towards the beginning. It's probably more like I just watch things and like, oh, like, hey, let's read about this, or let's watch something about this. That's probably the best way to describe it. At least right now, can't really think of anything else, but that makes sense. Like just
I was just generally asking.
Little small distractions, like here and there, that get me by, I guess. But other than that, I'm doing pretty decent. I've had moments throughout this week of anxiety and the idea of like the state of the world, and just general sadness, and like the idea of like I'm not in control, which in a way is freedom, but it's also so scary, with everything going on, and it continues to seem, we like to dive deep into some things, and when you're looking into stuff and it all starts to add up and it makes sense, like it's hard not to look at the world differently in a way, and despite the anxiety, it was like just a sadness too. It was like a deep sadness of like, I can't really do anything to change this overall state of the world. Like I can't, it's too big, and all I can do is focus on what's in front of me. And even then I don't always focus on what's in front of me. So it's just like, it was just a kind of a sadness and an anxiety of like, there's so much bigger going on, and I realize it. And it can almost feel like it's hopeless, even though like I know that's irrational, because like there's always hope. Like God, like our faith is hope, such a big thing, and so I guess my flesh can feel hopeless sometimes for like, and that leaks into everything, every part of your life. Like, oh, it's hopeless to do this. It's hopeless to, go to church. It's hopeless to to have that conversation with that friend, because you feel like you're not making a difference in the bigger picture, but you are. You just don't see it. So, just battling kind of thoughts like that a little bit here and there too.
One of the things I think I've had moments like that with the world right now.
Yep.
And I come to this place, man, that I realize how weak my faith is sometimes. And when you read the Bible and it talks about people, we get asked this a lot. Do you think it's the end times? We've talked about it, all that kind of stuff. End times. If you're not a Christian, listen, the end times be, when Jesus comes back, or the times before that, the tribulation, when things get really bad before he finally comes back. And one of the things I realize is you see in there, it's like a lot of people are going to walk away, and you're going to kind of see who's really believers, and you're like, oh, why do they walk? Man, it's like crazy because you can see it. You know the people, and I'm not saying this about you, but I guess I kind of agree with you. There's times that I feel my faith shaken by the state of the world, right? Like, well, where is God? It's not even necessarily that. It's just this odd moment where I recognize that I put it to the side as I'm focused on all these things. Then it comes back, So I know that I'm secure in my faith, but I think it's an interesting thing. I think times like that do that, which makes sense then, because I often wonder, why Paul is constantly reminding them to stay firm, to have endurance, to not be surprised at the fiery trials that you're going through, for they produce endurance, and endurance produces all these things, faith, all these kinds of things. And because they were going through it. We often forget in the early church what they were going through. They were being persecuted on both sides, by the Romans and by the Jews. The Jewish elite at the time, that is, the Jewish ruling class, or the high priesthood, and, all of that. And man, I guess in a weird way, we said this at the very beginning of COVID, we're getting this small taste of what they went through. And for me, sometimes it's like, okay, do I believe this? Do I actually believe this? Because if I do, why do I worry so much?
Dude, that's so good, because I think that's where my true fear comes from, is like, how much do I believe really?
Yeah.
Like, I think that's where it all kind of stems from.
Isn't it wild though that he holds on even when we feel like we're not holding on to him?
It doesn't make any sense, man.
Like, that's the strange part about all this, right? Like, even when we doubt if we're holding on to him, he's still holding on to us. Yeah.
I agree. Like, that's something that I don't fully understand. I mean, because when I try to, like, I guess when I try to put that in my head, like when I try to like envision what that looks like, it's hard, because I can only think of stuff like in life. Like for me, I guess I'm like, oh, I can forgive over and over again for people who do whatever, but he literally, even in the midst of like us not even 100% sure of what we are believing in, or our state of that belief, he still is like, I'm here. Even for people who can full on reject it, he's still there. They just don't even know. And like,
he doesn't give up on them until that that last moment. And if we put our faith in him, he never gives up on us. It's a crazy thing, man.
It really is.
So yeah, I guess I said all that just to say I empathize with your feeling of the insanity of it all. Without going into too much detail, we may do that on Roundtable, which will be coming out this week. You can hold us to it. But maybe we'll talk a little more about it. But you start to see some of the things that we thought were like, I know people are saying this could be what's happening, but who knows? And then you start seeing things. It's like, there's just a lot more in life.
Yes.
To everything sometimes than we believe, because we've been indoctrinated to just accept things. Does that make sense?
100%. I'm with you.
And I know that probably sounds mysterious.
That's a symptom I think I still fight 100%.
Yeah, well, me too. So, yeah, man, I get it.
So, I guess that's my week. Sorry to ramble for a while, but
I don't think that's rambling. What do you do with that part? Because the one thing I think is good for people to hear is, so you've realized this thing where you kind of run from things or distract yourself, I think. Or trick yourself. What do you do with that? Like, why does that make you sad? I mean, I guess you said it. One, you're not growing closer to who you're supposed to be, and also maybe it's preventing you from helping others. So what do you do with that? Like, that knowledge?
Keep it in the front of my mind.
How do you do it, though, if you're tricking yourself? Just like a mindset change, or?
Yeah, I think.
I mean, that happens sometimes, right? Sometimes when things become, we're aware of it, then we're aware of it, right? And then it's like,
I think, I guess that maybe that might be a little bit of a cop out though for me, myself personally, because I've had these realizations before, and then I just like, I see it, and then I go right back. So it's like, so maybe that might be a little bit of a cop out. I think I have to find a way, because I'm not 100% sure. Maybe I think that's it. Like I'm not sure. I think I have to find a way to allow others to help me in that.
Yeah, no, that's good. Yeah.
Whether that's me being like, listen, this is what I see, or if it's me,
or them pushing in and saying, hey, I feel like you're not actually. Because there's been times I've asked you, I was like, dude, where you at right now? And you'll kind of, sometimes you can even make me go, well, everything's fine. And I'm like, okay. Like, you know, maybe I need to push into that more and be like, no, man, you told me that you distract yourself.
Yeah.
It seems like there's something in your head that you're sort of not acknowledging.
That's really good. I think, just trying to get help from others, because when I'm very good at shutting that off and then just letting it go. I guess it's kind of like the autopilot I've talked about several times. Every once in a while, you turn off the autopilot and then it's like craziness for a second, and then you go back into it because you don't want to deal with all of it. So, that's all I can think of right now is letting you guys speak into that, pushing into that. I think as far as myself, when I do think of those things, is willing myself and God, because of course I can't do this alone. Like 100% cannot do this alone, but trying to make myself enter into those things when I think of them, instead of like sitting in them and trying to psych myself out of not doing it. Just thinking about it and then going and doing it. I think that's big.
Isn't it crazy that I think what you said is interesting, like you've described it this way, but we will literally not only try to sometimes hide from others and trick others into what we feel, but we trick ourselves.
Oh, yeah.
Like I want to, don't look there. Look over here.
That's so weird.
Smoke and mirrors.
Yep, and I think I tend to trick myself more often than trick others. Which
yeah, I yeah,
which is really weird. But so overall, that's thanks for asking, man, because that helps.
Yeah,
like,
I'm interested.
Trying to get over that. It's something that I might have to fight for a long time to get over. So appreciate that. Anyways, how's Todd's week been?
Week's been okay. So I've had a lot of thoughts, man. I haven't even told you about, even on our private time. AJ and I and some of the other guys, even Fun Turn Clint and Dutch guy Blake and Grant who hides. I talked to a lot of guys, Tim, some of our friends, Brandon, there's a ton of people, all of you guys. But I realize, like, there's so many thoughts, and it's funny because I'm a guy that talks, right? But I always say, that's not even there's a lot I don't talk about, I guess is the best way to put it. There's a lot I don't share. Partly because maybe I'm the same as you. I don't want to think about it. And sometimes I feel weird sharing it. Like on Real Talk especially, sometimes I feel weird sharing things I feel because I have this thought of like, I don't want people to think I'm not growing in this area. And then I'm like, man, then the rebel in me is like, well, that's the complete opposite of Real Talk. Like I'm doing the same thing.
Right.
So anyway, all that to say, I had a lot of thoughts. I'll start with my vibe. So my vibe's kind of weird, and I was thinking about why. And I told AJ right before we went on, I was like, man, like I just feel sad for people today. There's some people in my life that like I hurt for. And I feel sorry for them. I genuinely hurt for them. And then I was also thinking about what else has happened. So I had a cool opportunity to have my nephew with me today. I guess he came Sunday. Yeah, Sunday night. Came to church. It was cool with my dad. And my dad brought my nephew and hung out with me. Stayed the night.
Yeah. And
then stayed Monday night too. And so that was cool. So we went to this water park for the first part of the day today. Yeah. And I drove with him on the way back, and he started getting. He's just he's a quiet guy. He's a quiet guy. And he started getting in the front, and then he got in the back, and because there was stuff in there, I was like, I can move it. He goes, it's too much effort to come back to the front. So it was like I was a taxi driver. But I didn't want to. He was really tired, and he was kind of falling asleep. And I asked him if he wanted headphones. And I had this plan of listening to a podcast on the way back. Because originally I thought he was going to ride back with someone else so he could enjoy it more. But he started not to feel good. So he came back with me because I needed to come back early to film, and et cetera. And trying to catch you guys up. So on the way back, I ended up no music, no sound. and I'm just
your
driving.
mind.
Yeah, man. And, well, here's the thing. I used to do that all the time. I used to work at a bank. It was 2 hours, 2 hours round trip.
Yep.
And I would listen to podcasts, but a lot of times I drove in silence. Man. And I know it probably sounds crazy. And so I had that today, and he fell asleep. And I realized just now, right before we went on, part of my vibe is I'm always around people, which I'm thankful for. But there's always, and the people, when I say noise here, it's not the people, but I always am around. There's always something to do. I'm always telling myself, I got to be here, here, here.
Yep.
And when you're driving on a longer trip, it's an hour and a half, whatever.
Sure.
You have nothing to do but drive.
Right.
And so I just could like sit and breathe. And I think in a weird way, that put me in a weird vibe. Not in a bad one, just calm. And it made me realize how often I am just sort of running around.
Yeah.
Like
high
a crazy man. Yeah, dude. I don't even like that term, but yeah, I guess I'm high strung, whatever. So I think I think that's part of it is that. So that's my vibe if you guys are like, what's wrong with Todd? Because sometimes the long term viewers will notice that. Mm-hmm. It's not bad, I'm calm. That's one thing. It's just a lot of random stuff I've been thinking about. The faith thing I brought up with you, it was cool that you brought that up about like how life, the craziness we're in is making me go, okay, where am I?
Mm-hmm.
So another thing, and I hesitate to share this because I think you got to understand, guys, if you'll know this, I don't live out of this. But if I'm going to have a real talk, and I think it's important for people to have people they share real talk with, and I want to show you guys that it's okay to do that, I should be willing to share that with you. And you know this. So what we do here is different. Okay.
Yeah.
I know everyone says that. And I do think everyone's probably a little different, right? What is normal anymore?
Sure.
In church, I mean. But we do. And I think we reach a different group of people sometimes. And we really aim to get people to give this church thing a chance that maybe wouldn't feel comfortable doing it or have been burned out or whatever. So, with that, though, and some mistakes I've made in my past, I think I've been pretty transparent about that. 7, 8 years ago, I was really dumb and young and learning, and I still am, but, I sinned and made mistakes, and I think sometimes randomly I get sad that I'm not accepted by the traditional ministry leaders and stuff, the ministry community.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes me sad. And then I get mad at myself that it makes me sad. Because the truth is, and I don't mean this meanly, I don't want to, I wouldn't fit in. I have different interests, as far as other than the Lord. And I know that's, but I guess sometimes it's tough when you feel like people are questioning what you do. And you know your heart, but it's funny. I'm human. And not, if people, and not everyone does. It's not like we have 100 people thinking it, and that's what's funny.
Right.
You can have 100 people saying great job, but if there's 2 people that are like, I don't like that guy, your mind goes, maybe they're right.
Right.
And I hate that it makes me doubt what I do and what we do sometimes. I hate those moments, that humanist in me that says, sometimes I will allow the opinions of other people to outweigh the opinions of the Lord, right? And to what He's told me and what I do. So I processed that a little bit, and I want to share with you guys that, man, I have insecurities too. And there's certainly a fighter in me that is like, I'll go through those moments and I'm like, whatever, I don't care. Because I'm not worried about you because I'm too busy doing work, kingdom work or whatever.
So do you ever just kind of feel like you're on the outside looking in?
Yeah, but the truth is I don't want to be inside.
That's so funny you say that because I was like, but do you also feel like you don't really care if you're there?
Yeah, sometimes I feel like, and I've said this, and I'm such a nerd, man. So if you guys don't get this, then you don't get it. I'll try to, I feel like I have such a respect for Christians. Yeah, which I am a part of. But what other believers I do, because I recognize that they're sons and daughters of co-heirs. So I see these people doing really cool stuff, and even if I admire stuff. I admire when churches and ministry leaders are doing cool things for people in the kingdom. Oh, yeah. And so, I want to, I'm like, oh, man, this is cool. You guys are in this really fancy castle, and it's awesome. And I am Tarzan, who just doesn't fit here, in, this world, or a Viking or whatever else. So sometimes, I feel like I don't, but I do. They're my brothers and sisters. So, sometimes why did that come up? I don't even really know. Nothing happened. There was anything negative.
Mm-hmm.
I just had we had a good church service, and I remember it was after service. I was alone for a little bit, and I had that thought of like, huh. You know. Also, I can't stand passive aggressiveness. You know that, and it's hard for me sometimes when I think people might be being passive aggressive, especially on social media.
Yeah.
And I can't do what I want to do because I love you guys, and what I do reflects on you. But Todd by himself is a wild animal. You know that, and for the Lord. But so that's part of it. I'm trying not to ramble too. There was some other big thing that when you were speaking, came to my mind, and now I can't really remember what it was. But I'm trying.
Do you think that? I should ask this. So you said like you don't really necessarily like it's not a big thing to not feel like you're in that, right? But
because I am a rebel a little bit by nature, like. I ask why. You know that.
Mm-hmm.
I always want. I'm not afraid to ask why. You know, what's the purpose of this X, Y, Z?
Right.
That doesn't mean I don't believe there's a purpose. I just like to know the purpose.
Sure. Now, do you ever think like they all feel that in a way almost?
Yeah, and I think that's part of why I'm sharing it too. In case there's ever a pastor or something looking who's maybe he feels that way, but he can't share it with anyone. I want him to know, like, or in some of the ministry, hey man, you're not alone, or hey lady, we feel this way too.
So how do you think like as like leaders in a church, right? Like how do you think you overcome that? And do you like how do you not let that affect your relationship with other like churches, I guess, or like other leaders or
Yeah, no, it's a great question. For me, I I don't know. I just do. I just don't, you know. I love to learn.
Mm-hmm.
So I think everyone's got something to teach me, which makes it really easy too for me to be like, I think the only people it affects is like, I don't chase people. So if someone's like, blah, 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 you know, it's not, a long time ago I came to realize that certainly you want to have a good reputation or you want people, but, you know, at any one time people aren't going to like you or going to question you. And so like, I know some people feel that pressure to be liked by everyone. I don't really feel that pressure, man.
Which is good.
Yeah, so I'm just kind of like, we're doing our mission, and I love, there are definitely, you know this, there's churches and stuff we work with. I love it. There's so many churches I'm so crazily impressed by in this community. There's a cool thing happening in the community right now. They're calling it Focus, I think. They're just kind of, it's a family event where several churches are sort of coming together, I think, to do so much. I absolutely love the idea of. I don't really know much about it, but I think it's awesome. So, I don't know, man. I try to remember that they're, like what you said, they probably feel the same way.
Yeah, I was just curious because I guess I never really that question never hit me until now. Like I wonder how they if they feel the same way and how they overcome those things.
I think a lot of them probably don't. A lot of us, right? Like
a
lot of people don't. I think they just, I don't know, play the game like we talk about.
Right. Interesting.
Doesn't mean their hearts aren't good or whatever, man. It's a tough job, you know. There's a lot I could share. I have a lot of thoughts all the time. Real talk's an odd place for me because sometimes I can get caught up and start talking like it's just us.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to be careful because all they get is the snapshots we give them. Some people,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean?
Sure.
So anyway, that's not the only thing. It was just a random insecurity that I felt. But we all have them, so don't feel weird that you do sometimes. I guess that's the point of it. And you just cling to truth and remember who God is. And it's funny how the enemy tries to hit us all by making us feel like we're outside.
Oh, absolutely.
Everybody, in some capacity, you know what I mean?
I even feel that way as far as being like a leader.
Yeah.
Like,
You said that the other day. I remember actually talking about that.
Because I was like, I mean, you look on the outside, like you put this down on a piece of paper, this makes no freaking sense.
Dude, none of it does. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think, like I said, maybe I wasn't supposed to talk about it, but there's some big thing I've been pondering, and I don't remember it. So, I have been thinking about the community. One of the things I've been pondering about our church is I really want us. We definitely do things community, and we're trying to we got a lot of balls in the air right now. You know that. I don't want to go into too much detail, but we've talked about our sports ministry and building a field and all these things, and that's it's pretty much happening unless something crazy. And it wasn't when we planned on it because we were going to put it off a year, and it sort of fell in our lap. But with that, it's like, man, I want to love on people, and I want to continue it. And then I'm like, isn't it funny though that sometimes you do that just so other people think you're doing stuff, and like, what a terrible motive. Like, well, I want people to know that our church involved in the community. I remember a Real Talk question we got that said, what does your church do for people in the community? And we're like, well, we have a compassion ministry, we give thousands of dollars away. We do a meal every week. But then you start going, oh, maybe we should do this. And I remembered, like, I don't think it's our job
Like it should
to try to fill every need, right? Like, we've got to find the areas that aren't being met and do that. And we're doing that here, right? Like, I'm not saying that, but I mean in the community as a whole. It's not a marketing ploy, right? Being sure. And I don't like when, you can get that pressure sometimes to do that. Well, we got to get out there. They got to see us. And I'm like, no, they got to see Jesus. Yeah. So, like, I don't know if any of this is making sense to me. It makes sense to me. My thoughts are all over, man. I try to.
like, not making it an obligation, like.
Yeah, I mean, I want to make sure everything we do has a purpose, and not just do it because that's what you're supposed to do.
Exactly.
And I think when you do things with purpose, that's when crazy cool stuff happens. So, like, I've had this weird thought lately of, like, you know what, instead of focusing on what can I do that everyone else does, maybe these things that are happening in our church, the sports field, the studio, these things are part of how we're going to serve the community even bigger, right?
That's right.
And sometimes it's like, God might be preparing the field so that we can give away forgive this analogy, but the harvest. Well, I'm gonna prepare the field so you can plant the corn so they can give the corn away. And I'm over here going sometimes like, well, we need to give apples to people. He's like, no, I got a cornfield. You're gonna do the corn. I got a different place doing the apples. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Huh. So that was kind of a cool thing, in a way. Yeah, man, it's. I'm very thankful for God, and very thankful for good people. And I want to, kind of like we talk about, I really want to believe this and live it out all the time. So that's really where a lot of my thoughts are all the time.
It's hard to grasp, man. I 100% get it. Like, when it comes to life, when I try to think of, like, I can't speak, when I try to put a percentage on how much I think I live my life out like Jesus, man, it's so little. And it makes me wonder, like, if the Bible tells me that I can achieve living life to the fullest, like, man, I'm just living in a fraction of what I could be. And that's crazy to me. And then even me, as a believer in Christ, like, I believe all this is real, and this is the reality, this is the truth, right? And then it makes me think of people who don't believe. I'm thinking, man, they're if I'm fractional, I can't imagine where they're at. It's nothing.
Where's your, though? If I didn't have the Lord, I think all the time of how unsteady life would be.
Oh man,
like it's got to feel crazy.
The absolute insanity that my life would be, 100%.
Yeah, one thing to another and to another. So, yeah, it's interesting, and I don't know, man. Today is one of those days where, like I said, I'm feeling hurt for a lot of people. And I know there's people out there, and sometimes one of the most heartbreaking things are the people who are playing the game and trying to show the world that they have it all together, and you just see all the hurt under it. And I guess lately I've kind of noticed that too, and it just makes me sad because you want to be like, gosh darn it, will you just take that mask off so that we can talk about that hurt that you have? Because I see it, and and everyone has it. You guys have it out there too. And a lot of times you don't slow down enough to let yourself process that. And I'm not saying we should sit and process our pain and stuff all the time. One of the things that we say around, but it is important if it gets in the way, like you said, of other things. And I'm just, man, so it's an interesting time because we could really, as Christians, can show the world a lot of things right now.
Yes. Yes.
If we can, but not the game, not the mask. If we take that off, let them see we're the same except for Jesus. It's a powerful thing. I bet this episode is going to seem like it's all over, but it is what it is, man. I hope it's not someone's first time, because they're going to go, "What is this?"
Hey, just like one of our dear friends who left a review, they said, "Hey, clearly this is not very edited. This is just raw and uncut."
Hey, this is real, raw and real.
That's right. So that's what we do, man. I don't know. It's, man, I see what you're saying. When it comes to the mask, like, we'll never fully be free. And that's, this leads me to another deep question. Oh, man. So when it comes to, we talk about the mask, right, and removing the mask and taking it off, removing all those layers of junk and hiding and all these things. Like, when it comes to us, the human condition, is it possible in this life to fully remove the mask and keep it off? Because when I think about myself, I'm like, no, like, because like there's so many, right? Like, oh, here's this one. Okay, I took
but I think that's the mask I'm talking about, though. Like, even your willingness to admit you do that.
Yeah.
Like, it's weird, man.
Like, it makes me feel like it won't be achieved until after we're gone, and that's where we're glorified. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, I think the insecurities, but when I talk about the mask too, I'm talking about that idea that as long as I look better than you,
yeah,
I'm good. Everything's okay. Yeah, I don't know. Life's weird, man. That's all I got. Weird episode, weird day.
Life's weird. That's all I got.
Life's weird. God's good. He's real. He's moving. If you're out there and you're struggling through distracting yourself or struggling through insecurities and all those kinds of things, do you have people that you can talk to? I keep going back to that. First and foremost, talk to God about it. I feel like prayer becomes a thing. It's like, oh, I'll do that after everything else. God really does respond, and he moves, and you can feel his presence. It's a real thing. On top of that, though, he told us to be there for each other. So it's like, are we there for each other? And even me, us, we're pretty close, but there's times we don't share the same thing with each other because we're like, oh, he doesn't want to hear it again, right? And it's like, gosh darn it. I don't know.
That's really good, man. That's truth.
So we got a question. We've gotten this. If you're the person, and we don't say this often, if you're the person legitimately has asked this question 25 times in the last 2 weeks, what is a quote that inspires you, not from the Bible? We did answer this. We've answered it several times, but we answered it within the last 2 weeks, and maybe you missed it. So I'm going to answer this one more time. I'm not mad at you. I just want you to know that if you're asking these questions and not watching the episodes, then you may be missing that we're answering it. Yeah. And so, what is a quote not from the Bible?
Shoot.
I'm
not a quote guy, really.
Work is the price you must pay for success. You can accomplish almost anything if you're willing to pay the price.
That's good. I like that. Who is that?
Vince Lombardi.
Oh, nice.
We just
good
saw him
Lombardi. We did.
Yeah.
Not in real life, but
that would be creepy. Yeah.
Yeah, we saw good old Vince the other day. Speaks so much wisdom into our lives. Our daily,
He does, man.
weekly meetings.
He does.
What a good coach. That guy was.
Hey, he was good.
Absolutely. I'm gonna be honest, man. I don't cling on to like quotes like that. I never have. It's never been something I've ever done. So I don't really have one off the top of my head. If I'm being honest, I'm not good at those. People are like I know. Well, you have a crazy mind, so you can store the entire history of the world in your brain. So that makes sense that you have at least one, but you probably have actually at least 150.
No, I like quotes.
You do,
but I can't call them all on command. I think I can't. I do like the one that says, it sounds kind of cocky, but I like it. Man, what is that? What is it, like, hate me, but at least spell my name right or something? I don't know.
You said that one before.
Yeah, because we've answered this.
Yep.
Which is okay, keep asking. It's just, I know it's the same person because they're literally copying and pasting it.
Yeah.
So it's like, I know we answered it, but maybe they're missing it. So,
yep.
Hey, check it out. Watch it. Have a good time.
Hey, have a good time.
Hey, all right.
Hey.
Yeah, anything else you got? Weird day, man. I got nothing, really. You just keep filming.
Other than that, I love you guys. Not really. I mean, just thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Like you said, it's a little bit of a weird one. But, hey.
We were all over the place. We didn't have anything to talk about.
Yeah, but, hey, God uses it.
Hey, Clint, you got something for us? How long has this been? He's going to look for us and tell us I'm going to buy time. He can't see it. Why can't you see it? This is the world we live in. So, no idea. But, is there anything you want us to talk about, Clint? He's pondering.
He's pondering.
That would take not 20 minutes because I'm sure we've done at least 25. Yeah, so that's a good idea. So we do have this new thing we're coming out with a couple weeks ago. We kind of said, hey, we need at least 8 comments to know if there's interest. People did it. So we're going to come out with what we call the round table. I'm pretty excited because we're going to talk about the concept. Guys, this is going to blow your mind a little bit if you're not a nerd like me. The round table has a reason that it's round and it's symbolism.
That's right.
And we're going to talk about that on our first episode. So what is the round table? The round table is another...
Is that a debit?
Yeah, I don't podcast. Okay, I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why I did this. You were talking. I need you to remember this. It's important. I'm fine. Is this going to be that kind of episode? Fine. This is a train wreck. Fine. While you were talking, I started thinking about Real Talk Live and how last week, and it was because you said something about Real Talk. Last week we had a cord issue that ruined the sound on live. Remember that?
Yep.
So what I was going to say was, I was like, man, I got to remember. I swear to you, you can go back and watch this. This is the reason. I said, I've got to remember to tell them that we've got to get a new cord. Make sure. And I was like, I'm going to forget. So I said, I'll put my debit card, just sit it here because my mind will go, why did I put my debit card here? And then I'll remember. So I put it there while you were talking. And then I just started throwing it.
I didn't realize.
So somebody's going to zoom in, some thief from online, freeze it, and steal all the money from our church. Because it's the church's card, by the way.
It was funny because I was sitting here and I was listening, and then he was like, "Oh, round table," and then I look over and you're just like, "So you know,"
and I haven't facing.
I don't know. So and then the more I realized, I was trying to listen, and I was also like, "What is he holding?" I was like, That's what I probably said. Is that a debit card?
Man, I really hope that I didn't put the numbers on there or anything. Anyway, well,
yes,
round table. It's gonna be kind of a different format. We actually, at this point, it is sort of supported by the church, but we're not sure if it'll branch off in its own thing yet. We're gonna kind of let it play out. But essentially, it's a group of people. It's gonna be guys at first, all those young guys. We'll bring ladies on at some point, but it's gonna be topical. Mm-hmm. So each week we may have a random topic, and they're pretty deep, man. Some of them right now I can give you a little sneak preview.
Nice.
One, being humble when it's hard, redemption, doubts, Christian manhood versus worldly manhood, sex, relationships, depression and suicide, how to deal with being different and thorns in your side, how far will love go, sin, sharpening each other's swords and the history of it, dealing with lies, aliens, D&D and Christians. Is it wrong? So we got a lot of cool stuff coming. Talk about real talk. This is going. This topic suggested is the journey and talk of real talk in the media ministry and where it's all going. And then hey, it's gonna be free flow. The angle's cool. It's gonna be filmed in black and white.
Yeah,
it's a pretty cool shot. The guys came up with a really cool shot for it. That's all them. It was awesome. We'll probably release it as a podcast too, at least for the trial. That's really it. And we're gonna see how it goes, and it'll be different than this. We're gonna continue. Real Talk's gonna continue to answer the questions. That's why we want it to be different.
Yeah.
But we also want a place to. I don't know. Who knows where it's going to go? Conspiracy theories. We're just going to be more
raw.
Yeah, Hitler and the search for the spirit of destiny.
If you don't know what that is,
tune in.
Yep.
This may be, and keep in mind, this is me being here with you for 2 years.
Yeah.
This may be both the strangest and worst episode of Real Talk we've ever had.
I'm trying to think of any past ones. I feel like there had to be.
Do you remember the sex episode that we never released because I got paranoid people would think it was weird?
That's fair.
So what happened is, and this was not us, the anonymous questions that came in at that time, and at that time they were rolling in.
Oh yeah.
They were all about sex. And so it ended up being, they were real questions. And now we can't find that episode because now I'm like, whatever, release it. No one knows where it's at.
No, it just disappeared.
I think it was like episode 4.
No,
it was really
early on.
If we ever find it, we're going to release it because there was
we
really
had
good
a couple
questions.
Episodes like that. We had 1, 2, 3.
1 and 2 aren't on there?
No, 1 and 2 are. 4, I think 7.
That were
just
early
about?
ones?
No, they're just gone.
Weird.
They just disappeared.
That's actually really odd, man.
Yeah, don't know where they're at.
I wonder if I panicked and deleted them.
Like back in the day.
Yeah, or something, I don't know. So, hey, we haven't done this in a while, guys. I don't know. I'm going to be honest, I don't know about you. We need some encouragement that you guys are still with us. Now, we're getting the views are up, the views are there.
Yeah.
But, right now I know who's watching the whole thing. Or listening. Podcast people, we know you're listening. We consider you part of the fam.
Absolutely.
Give us a review. Let us know, even if it's just a number, letting us know you're listening. I know some of you have, but we see the numbers. We know people are downloading these. Help us out. Let us know you're there. We're humans, man. We need to know this is enjoyable to you.
Yeah, absolutely. 100% agree.
Yeah, that's all I got. I'm all over, man.
All right.
A lot of silence today. I drove in my own Silence, and it confused you. Confused you. Oh, I could talk about something else.
Okay.
My hair disaster.
No. You did say you were going to mention this.
I'm going to mention
You
it in case
almost
people
got
are
away
watching.
with
In
it.
case you're watching, you're probably going, what happened to Todd's hair? I'm going to tell you right now. He's saying we're all over the place. It's fine. They need to know this. This is real talk. I went to get a haircut. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to say where. It's good. I get my haircut there a lot. And I showed a picture of how to cut my hair. It's the same.
Yeah.
You know, I've been letting the top grow a little longer. That's it. But the sides,
curls.
people give it a try, right? I go in. A couple horrible things happen. One, this mole on the side of my head. I've had it my whole life. Probably can't even see it. If you're listening to podcasts, it's going to be a disgusting thing to envision. But it's on the side of my head. Very first thing happens. Cuts it, bleeding down my face. I'm bleeding. Then on top of that, well, you see, my hair, it was rough. The sides were real rough. So then I go back. And I'm the type of guy that I don't want to because the person that cut it was really nice.
Right, you don't want to stir up.
Man, I don't even want to get in trouble. But it was pretty bad. Sure. It was pretty bad, right? You can attest to that.
Yeah.
So then I go back and I say, hey, here's what we're going to do. Can you just fix the blending? You know, we'll go take a quarter of an inch off. Just go to old style I used to do. Well, I think what they heard was leave a quarter of an inch. So now I look like John Cena, the wrestler, if you know who that is. So that's it, man. And now I gotta wait forever for my hair to grow back. So it was a weird weekend. You're looking at it right now.
I am. And honestly, though, dude, it still looks good. You can pull off any. Like I said, I think you can go bald and still look good.
Well, you know that's not true because of my pterodactyl head. My head has a ridge on the back of it, like a pterodactyl.
Honestly, though, I feel like it wouldn't matter. You'd still look good.
I appreciate you saying that, but I also know when I came in the first day when you go, yeah, man, it looks good.
It's still dead, though. That's the thing.
So I found myself, you want to know a weird thing I found myself doing on a trip? Like this first, I've been wearing a hat. You know that almost the whole time for 3 days.
Yeah.
And bless their heart, man. They took care of me, and it's fine. I still really like them. Like things happen, whatever. And maybe it was my fault for not scrubbing, whatever. But I keep trying to pull my hair longer out of my head. Like I've noticed, if I just pull it, it'll just get long again. And it's like the subconscious thing, that I'm doing. Can we agree now? This is the worst episode of Real Talk ever.
Pull your hair. You're trying to pull your hair follicles. You're trying to pull.
Listen, I'm not consciously doing it, but I caught myself today. I was like, why do I keep pulling it? Like it's just going to pull longer. So that's a real thing that happened.
I'm crying.
Oh, man, I almost spit that everywhere.
I'm crying.
That would have been real. That would have really filled out the worst.
Listen, man, I don't care what anybody says. I think this has very quickly turned into one of the best episodes.
No. I've even considered calling it. The name of this episode is the worst episode ever.
I'm in. It'll draw people in. They go, what does this mean?
And then by the end they go, oh, that's what it means.
I can't wait to listen back to what just occurred, so that'd be fun.
Clint, you got anything? We're grasping for straws here, man.
Dude, you know the best part about this is later on, AJ's going to come and be like, hey, Clint, I can hear you laughing a lot. Just randomly threw him out.
And now he's a voice and not just a name.
Yep.
Sounded like Pennywise the Clown there at the end. Ooh. Anyway, hey, we love you guys. Appreciate you. Do us a favor. Keep asking those questions. There are a few that we're going to be doing live. Mm-hmm. We go live. Yeah, even on the podcast. We go live, actually. We do a show live on Thursdays on Facebook. Just type in the Remnant Church of Whitley County. You'll find it. Got a fancy R. And we go live. You can join us from wherever you're at. We know we've have listeners all over the world. That's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
Also, you guys can come and check that out, and we'll be answering some questions live as we go. But, hey, keep sending us topics, questions, thoughts, God, life, the Bible, everything in between. I know today was a lot about us and our feelings and, all kinds of stuff like that. But at the end of the day, this is all real.
That's right.
And man, we love talking about God, chopping that up, talking about the Bible, and how it all fits together. And we're all on this journey together. Don't give up hope. I know things seem scary, but I promise you, that old saying's kind of true. When it's darkest, that's when light shines the brightest. Be a light out there. Be a hope to people. And if you're a believer in Jesus, hey, be Jesus to people. He's coming back someday. Wild, isn't it?
Truth.
You got anything?
I love you guys. Check out our podcast if you haven't. If you're on the go a lot, go ahead and give us a listen. And like you said, give us a review if you can. We're also on Pandora now, so if you got any Pandora listeners out there, took a while, but we're on Pandora now for the podcast as well. And iHeartRadio, I think.
We're on everything, man. Essentially, in all honesty, pretty much any streaming or podcast service. You can type in Real Talk Web Series.
Yep, and it's there.
And that's where we're going to release Roundtable, at least the first one. So you're essentially going to get a lot of content this week. My assumption is if everything goes the way we want, that'll be released on Wednesday of this week.
Cool.
The week of, what is this? The 29th. We would hope that'll be out. So
cool.
Look for that too.
Awesome. Other than that, no, I just love you guys. Thank you for being on this journey and being willing to listen to our ridiculousness.
Yeah, hey, we love you guys so much. Hope you have a great day. And truly, hey, if you are local, I'll stop myself again, and you don't have a church home or you just you're intrigued by God but have always felt kind of uncomfortable and you didn't think you'd fit in, come check it out here. You can go to the page that this video is on if you're listening on video or watching on video. If not, well, we told you to go to the Remnant Church, but come hang out with us. We hope you guys have a great day, and truly, God bless you.